Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Wallace. I'm the Vice President of Artistic Affairs, and we're excited to have Autumn here to share work tonight and as part of our fall lecture series. I'd also like to start by saying that Anderson Ranch would like to acknowledge that our campus resides on the traditional ancestral territory of the Ute people who call the Roaring Fork Valley and beyond home for over 800 years. Autumn is here as a visiting artist and is a New York-based interdisciplinary artist working with performance, installation, video, and text. Knight's videos and performance work have been viewed with several institutions, including the Whitney Museum of American Art, the Kitchen in New York City, among many others. And Autumn is a recipient of the 2021-2022 Nancy B. Negley Rome Prize. That's a big deal. Big deal in visual arts. And another big deal, 2022-23 Guggenheim Fellowship. So please welcome Autumn Knight. And also, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off. Welcome, Autumn Knight.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Very happy to be here at Anderson Ranch. It is an honor to return here. I'm happy to have the opportunity to do an artist talk this time around. And thank you so much for that introduction. So tonight, in lieu of a traditional artist talk, I will share the practice of one of my new favorite artists through their Anderson Ranch residency application. The artist's name is Ursus Barabal Jones. This is an artist hailing from Colorado. I will read their statement of purpose and share with you their application materials, specifically their work samples. As you know, the application has 10 work samples. And perhaps we as a community of artists and thinkers and scholars and some writers in here, maybe we can give this artist some feedback on their application before they submit in December. Statement of purpose. In my proposal for the 2023 Anderson Ranch residency, I would like to request to work across disciplines. Let me know if this mic is too. My interdisciplinary work explores the complexity of the presence and position of bears in pop culture, human and animal binaries, blackness, bareness, climate change, and ecological pedagogy. I have worked with sculpture, photography, portraiture, performance, site-specific installation, video, text, performative stealth, and painting. My work is situated in a lineage of the embodied practices of animals that fight in bipedal stances. What shows up most in my work is what looks like a constant search for food. My praxis, art school. My praxis is a hunting for nourishment, a hunting for sustenance for the body, mind, and spirit. Fundamental to my current body of work to date is the criticality with which I approach post-humanism theory, Blackness, and the Anthropocene. Did you see Heidi Klum's Halloween costume? My work critiques the relationship between human abundance and animal/natural scarcity. I question and problematize Blackness in the animal and human worlds. How is Blackness translated across species and in the relationship between visibility and hiding for safety? Moving beyond traditional verbal methods of communication, I employ a sense of lurking and reimagine lurking as a place of agency, place and presence. So, how do we engage with labor? I do not engage in the labor of cooking or growing food, but I do undergo the labor of tearing shit apart for it. I use multimedia processes to think about how we as bears can operate at night. Can darkness be reimagined as a space of survival? And can we bears find power in this place, this dark isolation? I would like to use my time at Anderson Ranch. You look confused, Samsung. I would like to use my time at Anderson Ranch to continue my journey of self-discovery and thinking through my attraction to human culture. Related to this research, another theme emerges: the depiction of bears in the Western art canon. A couple of works are at the center of my investigation. Edwin Henry Landseer's Man Proposes, God Disposes. This work in particular is a work that guides my thinking about bear imagery and imperialism, mythology, whiteness, and both negative and positive omens associated with bears. Also, William Holbrook Beard's The Bear Dance sits with me. Its use of animals, bears in particular, to substitute and satirize human behavior as if animals do not possess a unique and indecipherable interiority. I coupled this with my interest in Blackness as a site for satirization, mimicry, and as a site for the other to define and redefine and come to terms with the difficulty and foibles of humanity, in particular, a white humanity. And at last, another work that sits with me, that informs my practice. The work of French performance artist Abraham Poincheval, who created a life-size sculpture of a bear at the Musée de la Chasse et de la Nature, in Paris. This work is originally titled Laus. If you know French, it's probably not the right pronunciation, but let's go with it. A bear. Or this work is in English, it's called The Bear or The Bears. It's very original. So in this work, this artist took to living in a carving within the stomach of the beast, of a life-size bear, to play at experiencing hibernation and nature. I would like to engage in this residency to have a relationship with other artists. At my time at Anderson Ranch, I would like to address issues of accessibility. My hope is that my presence in this space dissolves the species and disciplinary divisions that exist. As a local artist who has visited the ranch, I have been able to access some spaces, but not all. My anatomy allows me to open some doors, but not others, which I find to be a metaphor, but also an addressable issue. Like many artists, I work at night. My MFA in night studies has prepared me for working at night under the cover of darkness. I would like a proper space to explore what I have to offer, possibly in the light. Thank you for considering my application for the 2023 Anderson Ranch Artist Residency. You know where to find me. So that is the artist statement. So obviously there are some things we can talk about later that they probably should address. They should probably address their work more, but we can talk about that maybe in the Q&A about the particular practice. This artist also shared with me their work samples. So as you know, the artist needs 10 work samples for this residency, and I would like to go through them. And in a studio visit that I had with the artist, I would like to kind of just explain what I think the artist is trying to communicate with their work. So this work is called "Help the Bear," and this is taken from the title is taken from a song by Mystical, which is a Southern rapper from New Orleans. And the rapper, in this line, he says, "If you see me in a fight with the bear, help the bear." And what I thought that Ursus meant by that is about addressing a state of reinterpreting, reimagining that phrase, and thinking about the bear turning into the self to help the bear. Right, to help the self, to and not be afraid to use the self as a mirror, right, for all the things that we sort of reach out to the world to try to understand. So turning inward, right, facing the bear, helping the self. So Ursus Barabal Jones likes to reinterpret other artists' works as part of their practice, sort of recapturing, reimagining, really trying to force themselves into in this canon in a way, in the human canon and the Western art canon. Not to sort of be placed in this hierarchy, but just really to sort of be in conversation with other artists. So this original work is by Leonardo da Vinci, and I think it's called Barehead. And what Ursus has done here is really kind of layered on top of this work a sort of a graffiti, I guess, gesture, if you will, the red eyes. So not a complacent bear, not a bear existing only in a drawing, but a bear that is active and activated and maybe vicious in a way that is indecipherable. So sort of leaving that open, but sort of communicating to the viewer that there is passion there and there is danger there, and there are many things about bears that are unknown. This one is called The Other Leo, A Miscalculation. And I believe, I don't remember, I believe this is about, it's about Other Leo, but I know that Ursus has a particular relationship with the movie The Revenant. And so Leonardo da Vinci, Leonardo DiCaprio. So Ursus also is a Leo. So this work is a reimagining of the work of an artist, Nate Hill. The original work is called Death Bear, and it is a performance work, I think performed mostly in New York City. And Ursa's practice expands many, many disciplines. and I think non-human disciplines as well. And maybe if you get to meet Ursus, maybe here at Anderson Ranch, they can talk to you more about that the disciplines exist in the bear world and art making bear disciplines. So Death of a Bear, and in the original work, the artist goes around and sort of talks to people and takes on their sadness for them, which I find was a very particular thing that Ursus wanted to sort of engage with. And I'm not sure if this is if Ursus is interested in this bear to bear or human to bear. I'm not sure, but I think they wanted to think about in the original image, the artist has on a plastic black bear head, and so this anthropomorphizing of humans and vice versa, and this sort of cosplay. I think Ursus wanted to examine that, and so that's just Ursus's head, right? So maskless, right? And what does that mean in nature to be maskless, to be exposed, and also to be near the garbage can where the trash is located, but also to fight the urge to dig in it. Okay. I forgot. I think this is 4. So this is obviously in response to Abraham Poincheval's work, Laos, and basically, I mean, what I love about Ursus's work, it's so to the point. It's so very basic, a basic bear, if you will. And so this work is entitled Humain. And so what Ursus does here is really flips the thing on its head. What does it mean to carve out the being of another animal and insert yourself? Okay, and insert an image of yourself. And when I was talking with Ursus, there was something that they found very riveting about this performance, right? About this play of sustainability. But there's something about destroying another, not destroying, because obviously it's a dead bear, which is also very morbid, obviously, to a bear. But sort of like needing to get inside another being, another species, to experience something that feels life-giving, right? So to sort of like play in death to experience life, and I wanted also. I don't know. I think Ursus has amazing photoshopping skills. So I mean, digital work is also very important to their praxis and sourcing imagery. Arthur Jaffa is one of their favorite artists. Yeah, and I mean also Ursus follows the media news. So obviously this is also kind of bringing up some of the issues that are kind of current right now, that may not be in the bear community, but also Ursus is obsessed with human culture. So so this is cacao, and this particular work, Ursus is a fan of the TV show. Well, obviously this is an image from The Revenant, so we're kind of like also the Leo thing. We're borrowing from that. We're borrowing from the Revenant film as like a primary source material, and also loves the TV show Portlandia. But here, this combination of these imageries, this imagery and this word, and this callback to this phrase cacao, it's about this this sexual tension that exists in imagery between bears and nature, and mostly cis white men. And so Ursus is really trying to like create a series investigating like what is this this layer of sexual tension, right, that exists throughout the history of art. and contemporary images as well. Cacao. Um, this is also sort of lifting part of an image from another painting. I mentioned the painting, but I forgot it. No, the God disposes the human. Okay, that one. That piece, the original work is bears tearing apart bodies and flesh, right? And what Ursus wants to do is to constantly sort of turn it on his head and reimagine the way we see bears, right? To have a sort of a complex reading of bears, so to experience the danger of bears, but also the bears can experience joy as well. And we know that through the stereotypical images of teddy bears, the softening, the weakening, the sort of making bears seem very, what do you call it? Just non-threatening, right? The campaign to present bears as non-threatening. But here, we lean into that. A little Andy Warhol, shout out with the color palette. And but also thinking about like the bear laughing, maybe having eaten a bunch of flesh. Post meal, post coitus, we don't know. But also, I know the bear is really, since the bear is also interested in blackness, there's also like black joy. So this is a callback to that relationship, to the use of joy in the work of Black contemporary artists as well, reclaiming that. Okay. So this is Ursus. Ursus likes to place themselves in the work. The image in the rear is the Bear Dance, which is a very, very famous painting of bears frolicking and hanging out interracially somehow, and really what I think Ursus is trying to do here is to come close up to the viewer to question what's in the background, right? So it's also speaking to the way we use contemporary social media in a way. So like a selfie perhaps, sort of being in that world, but also detached from it, able to comment on it, and questioning the spectacle nature of depicting bears as happy and engaging in human behavior. So this is about the institutionalization in terms of like art institutions. So institutionalizing bears being sort of sanitized images of bears in the art world. So this sort of stark image of this bear with no fur, no genitalia. So it's really kind of thinking about reaching out across this imagery, sort of say, where art thou? Where are you? Where are we showing up in this landscape, in this canon? Smoothed out, but it's also brother because it's a black bear. Again, Ursus, again, commentary. This one is obviously it's like in relationship to the other image. This is Francois Pompon is the original artist of these two sculptures. But again, Ursus placing themselves close to the camera, close to the audience, to kind of say, what the hell, what the fuck, what's going on here? And reposition themselves and polar bear culture. Like what is the range of ways in which we distinguish bears and sort of rank them and produce these hierarchies? in bear culture. Okay. I think this is the last image, or next to the last image. This one is called Teddy and Leo. So, what I love about this work, and what I hope that Anderson Ranch considers, the way that Ursus queers this relationship between the bear and the I want to say colonizer or something, or just so, but also inviting that in, because Ursus is so such a student of human culture, bringing bringing Leo in. I mean, obviously, the Abraham Lincoln figure with his tasseled clothing is also standing in for Leo DiCaprio. So pulling all of that inside, but also watching from the outside as well. So there's some voyeurism that I think Leo would like to explore. Ursus would like to explore in their work, and also the potential for romance and connection across species, to clear this divide, to clear this hurdle, to dissolve some of that space between it and make it a bit more muddy and murky. Yeah. This is a headshot of Ursus, Barraball Jones. And I don't know if they wanted me to share this, but there are 3 references. I don't know if, we can talk about like whether these are good references for an application. The first one is Lawrence Agent. And Lawrence Agent is the artist of the first image, who created this this artwork that it actually exists in Denver. And they actually have a close relationship, that artist and Ursus. The second is Nate Hill, which is the artist from the Death Bear piece. Ursus reached out to that artist, and they decided to be a reference for the application here. And the last one is Gold E. Locks, who is a curator in Colorado Springs. So I think that's it for application materials for Ursus, and I hope I did them justice. I think they're a promising artist. I think their visual imagery is amazing, arresting. All of the references are incredible. It's just I don't know. It's just a wealth, a playland of ideas to explore, and I hope that Anderson Ranch takes Ursus's application seriously in the upcoming year, and I just want to support other bear artists moving forward, especially in this region. Thank you for allowing me to share that. Thank you. Before we start the Q&A, I want to thank Esther, who is the artist, the brains behind that imagery, the Photoshop whiz. So your very own Esther. I want to thank you. Can we give Esther a round of applause for that? Forever grateful. Forever grateful.
Okay, we have one question from Sam Harvey.
I'm very curious.
Uh-huh.
How would the ranch house Ursus?
Okay.
Let me extend the question a bit.
Sure.
Would Ursus live in the dorm with the rest of the residents during their residency, or would a building or space be constructed for them near their studio?
I think it would be best to really take into account the needs of Ursus for there to be a constructed space near their studio. And really it's probably the first bear in residence, artist in residence. I think that obviously that's a space that could be used for other bears in the future. So I don't see why we wouldn't just why Anderson Ranch couldn't just build that space, to as a promise, to build a relationship with these types of artists in the future.
Hey, yeah, you said Ursus has a lot of involvement on social media. I was wondering if you could, if they have a handle or something like that you know about?
It said at Big Body Bear. That's on Instagram and Twitter. Okay.
I'm wondering, since Leonardo DiCaprio is such an influence for Ursus, if he has reached out to Leo, because he is such an active, avid collector of art, contemporary art especially, and diverse artists.
I think Ursus actually has tried to reach out. Ursus is, of course, like most artists, want a gallery, but does not have one yet. So it's really trying to reach out with the galleries that it does have a relationship with, and to see if they can connect to Leonardo DiCaprio, who I believe lives in LA. So reaching out to some LA galleries to see if they can make that connection. I'm not sure if Leo. I mean, I guess I'm projecting, but I'm thinking about the idea of the artist, like Leonardo DiCaprio as a actor in the work. Like, who is who is the actual artist that created that image of that bear in Leonardo DiCaprio? Is it the director? Is it the artist, the bear actor, and Leonardo, like their really connection in that scene? So when I think about a collector collecting an image, I think about like what kind of things to speak to them. But I think Ursus is like confident and will reach out nevertheless, and we'll be able to fully have a conversation about it, about the work.
Really great. I was wondering, the ranch has a lot of different programs. So there's visiting artists, there's the residency, which I think is what Ursus is applying to. If we were to invite Ursus to teach students in the summer, what kind of workshop would they maybe want to teach? And what kind of content, what kind of skills, and what level artist?
And this is in the summer?
Mm-hmm.
I think a movement workshop. In the summertime. I think either a movement workshop for all levels, maybe beginners. I mean, because with the bear's body, kind of slow and lumbering, thinking about duration. I think that could be any level. I could think that'd be from an advanced artist. Also, I say movement because it's one of the disciplines that is not directly explored here, right? Artists and guests and workshop participants have the opportunity to engage with object work and machines and materials and tools. And I think that a movement workshop would actually be a good place for Ursus. But I think that working with trash and garbage and sort of in a recycling found object work, assemblage, sculpture, I think that could be another part of the workshop as well.
If Ursus is accepted for the winter residency, how do you think their productivity will be and how they combat their natural urges to sleep?
Because I've done some work about dolce far niente, the sweetness of doing nothing. Ursus and I have had a lot of conversations about the negative stereotype of laziness and this relationship to sleep. And Ursus really thinks about sleep as a source of nourishment. And I think that Ursus could get a lot done actually in their waking hours. And really that's, I mean, that has a lot to do with how we in a capitalist culture think about productivity. So I think that if Ursus is awake for 30 minutes a day, that is their studio time. I mean, obviously, hopefully, Ursus can be convinced to stay awake for longer, to communicate further. But, that's through building relationships with other artists, to be in community with other artists. You can pull that out of Ursus.
Any final questions?
Thank you so much.